Sometimes family is all you need, and sometimes they take too much advantage of you. In today's episode, we'll be discussing a case of a young woman whose life was cut short by a brutal act of violence from the people she trusted. It's the case of Abby Choi, right now on Love and Murder. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to a new episode of Love and Murder, the weekly true crime podcast discussing relationships gone terribly wrong, where our motto is you're either someone's last love or their first murder. I'm your host, Kai, and our show discusses true crime cases told in the form of a story with mystery and suspense. Be sure to subscribe to Love and Murder on Spotify, Apple, or just basically wherever you're listening to us on. Subscribe so you don't miss any episodes. So, did you hear about the last episode that I did? Basically, it was a really special episode that was a murder mystery where the first person to get the answer right gets a prize. So go ahead, give it a listen, and try and figure out what the answer is. I'll be giving the answer next week and also revealing who the winner is, if there's any. So who knows? It might be you. In today's episode, we're talking about an ongoing case of greed and murder. So let's get on into it. First, I want to say that this case is still ongoing, so legally, everything I say here is alleged. I'm not part of the case, not a reporter, just a true crime podcaster. And also, I also want to say before I get started that these are names that I'm not used to, so I might not say them properly, so forgive me. Abby Choi Ting Feng was born on July 11th, 1994 in Hong Kong, China. She was very private when it came to her parents' and siblings' information, so I basically couldn't find that much about like her parents and her siblings, her background or anything like that. I did find that she had two younger sisters and that her father owned a construction business that had excellent Chinese business connections, and her mom was a stay-at-home mom. So basically, she grew up well off, rich, well off, whichever way you want to say it. Abby went to a private high school in her hometown, and after she graduated, she went to and graduated from a well-known university. Like I said, very private, so none of those names were given. After graduation, she went on to pursue a job as a fashion icon and a model. So basically, she was on the up and up and doing what she loved, as we all wish we could. At age 15, Abby had met her future husband named Alex Kwong Kong Chi. Alex was the son of Kwong Kao, a detective police chief in Mong Kok at the time of their meeting, and he had a stay-at-home mother named Jennifer. Now, if I said that last name wrong, Kao, then I apologize, but I am not sure how it's pronounced. By 2005, though, his dad, Kao, has lost his job. Now, although they met at 15, they didn't get married until they turned 18 in 2012 and had their first son that same year. It's known that during the marriage, Alex would always ask for money from Abby. Money for himself, money for his family, money, 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 money. I'm not sure if he had a job or whatever, but it's clear that she was the breadwinner and he took advantage of it. Which is not a problem if the woman is the breadwinner. What is a problem is if her husband takes advantage of it. And vice versa. If the man's a breadwinner and the woman takes advantage of it, it's just, basically don't take advantage of people. Be happy that your significant other makes enough money to support y'all and don't take advantage of the situation. In 2014, despite everything, they had a precious baby girl. However, in 2015, after 3 years of marriage, the couple separated and eventually divorced. They agreed to continue sharing custody of both of their kids. Also, Abby promised Alex that she would take care of his family. Yeah, I don't know. That's not me. We're divorced. We're done. I mean, you know what? I'm saying that callously. I might have something like a really good relationship with the mom or the family, so who knows? I just can't picture it. Also, there's some other factors involved, like, if his family wasn't hounding me for money, then, and maybe they weren't well off, then maybe, yeah. because it's not their fault that their son divorced me or whatever, that me and their son got a divorce. So maybe, yeah. But if they expected me to pay for them, then absolutely not. My money is for me and my family and whoever I feel like I want to give it to. Over the years, Abby bought Alex's parents a luxury apartment and she gave his older brother a job working for her as a chauffeur. What kind of luxury apartment did she buy his parents, you ask? Because I know you were going to ask that. She bought a Kanduri Hill property in Ho Man Tin in Kowloon, Hong Kong, and she bought it under Alex's dad's name. The property, so I know to everybody else, that means absolutely nothing. So let me let you know a little bit about this property. The property had a market value of 45 million Hong Kong dollars, which is $5.73 million US. Wow. So the ex-father-in-law and his wife, Jenny Lee, lived there. But wait, there's more. Even though she was already paying Alex's older brother, she also helped him buy his first home. That's uber generous, and I don't know. I don't know if I could actually say that's how I would be. After some time, Abby met another man named Tam Chuk Kwan. Tam was also known as Chris of Tam Jai Yunnan Mixian. He was a businessman and the son of Tam Chap Kwan, the founder behind a popular Chinese food chain called Tam Jai Yunnan Mixian. So I guess that's why he was known as Chris of Tam Jai Yunnan Mixian. The couple had a whirlwind romance, and in 2016, they welcomed a daughter. Then on December 9th, 2016, they got married, and the ceremony was a pretty small ceremony, and I guess you're supposed to register it, but they decided not to register their marriage. So they just had a small ceremony, and it's an undocumented marriage. Then it was back to business for Abby. In March 2017, they traveled to Nara, Japan for her business, and on January 11, 2018, she met Pharrell Williams at a Chanel party in Hong Kong. Hobnobbing with the big boys. On her social media, she showcased herself meeting with a number of celebrities, which helped build her brand and so her business. According to one of Abby's friends, Bernard Chang, Abby had a good relationship with both families and would often travel with them both, with both of the families, her ex-family and her current family. Just basically one happy, blended family. But this is love and murder after all. Remember that I said she bought that expensive apartment for her ex-in-laws? Well, in 2022, she said she was going to sell the property, which in turn angered Alex's parents. But, it is what it is, Apparently, she was still paying on it, so it was a financial drain, and these aren't even her parents. So it's like even though they were mad at her, she still promised that she will get them moved somewhere else. So basically pay for their move and everything. But that still wasn't good enough for them. That's not what they wanted. They wanted to stay in this apartment that she had bought for them. So they were angry, but especially the ex-father-in-law was angry. And it's known that this started many arguments between the two of them. On Tuesday, February 21st, 2023, Abby got dressed in a white top with long sleeves, white pants, white slippers, and a purple purse and left to go pick up her daughter from Alex. This was the last time anyone saw her. Of course, her chauffeur, Anthony Kwong, her ex-brother-in-law, is the one who was supposed to pick her up. But when she didn't show, he called the police and a missing persons report was filed. An investigation started and the police reached out to her ex-in-laws to let them know about the disappearance. Dude, this happened 5 minutes ago. All right, let's see what the missing persons rules are in Hong Kong. So by editing, that only took 2.5 seconds. According to the Hong Kong police's website, quote, in Hong Kong, there is no waiting period to file a missing person report. As soon as you know someone is missing, you can report it to your local police station, end quote. Wow. Shouldn't that be like that everywhere? Weirdly, though, when questioning the family, they gave what police called, quote, false and misleading stories, which didn't help move forward the investigation. So this is basically what the police said. Whatever they said, whatever lies they told, which I couldn't find anything, and I trust me, I searched to see what they were saying, but there was nothing. I couldn't find anything. So whatever they said, the police realized it was lies, and the police took it as impeding the investigation, but whatever small hint they put in there led them to a property in Lung May Village. And on February 24th, 2023, they found Abby's leg inside of a refrigerator and human tissue in pots of soup in an apartment on the ground floor of a 3-story house. They also found an electric saw and a meat grinder, along with 2 types of choppers, a hammer, face shields, black raincoats, and a purple handbag that belonged to Abby. Y'all remember that purple handbag? Quote, "We're still looking for the head, the torso, and the hands, which we believed were disposed of. Tools that are used to dismember human bodies were found in the flat, including meat grinders, chainsaws, long raincoats, gloves, and masks." End quotes. Authorities also said that it appeared that the home had been, quote, "arranged by cold-blooded killers meticulously," end quote. It turns out that Kao, remember Kao, the ex-father-in-law, had recently rented this unfurnished property for about 10,000 Hong Kong dollars or 1,273 US dollars per month. But I thought he didn't have money, which was the whole issue. But authorities said, allegedly, like I said, this whole thing is allegedly, the way the place was set up, it looked like it had been rented specifically to dispose of a body. Cal, Jennifer, and Anthony were immediately arrested. Police didn't find where Alex was, though, and they wanted to arrest him, too. And at this point, Abby's head, torso, and hands are still missing. During the investigation, some interesting information came up about Alex's family. Now, I remember that I said Cal lost his job back in 2005. Well, it was because he had been investigated in a rape case involving a woman where he basically allegedly was the rapist. Wow. Anthony lived a lifestyle that had him trapped in debt. In fact, in 2019, Citibank in Hong Kong sued Anthony because of a $230,000 Hong Kong debt, which in US money, that would be $29,300. Wow, and he got sued for that. I mean, that's not money to blink at, to scoff at. $29,000. Then Jennifer had declared bankruptcy a few years back, which isn't bad because you never know what's going on in people's lives. But my God, an alleged rapist, somebody who's just living beyond their means. And then, wow. On February 25th at around 1 p.m., Alex was found at the waterfront at a ferry terminal in Tung Chung in Hong Kong. They'd found out where he was because a source had told them he was planning to get on a boat. When they picked him up, he had 500,000 Hong Kong dollars on him, which is US $63,695. He had that on him in cash, as well as a bunch of high-end watches worth about 4 million Hong Kong dollars, or US dollars would be $509,583. Now, I don't know about y'all, but to me that screams fleeing. He was arrested just like the rest of his family. At the time of his arrest, he still didn't have a job. And it came out that he'd actually been defrauding people between 2014 and 2015. And he'd conned them out of about 5 million Hong Kong dollars, or US would be $637,000. And he was also allegedly sued over a debt of 15.7 million Hong Kong dollars, or US $2.2 million. What? Who has a debt of $2 million? Oh my God. At this point in time, he'd been a wanted criminal for 8 years for the multiple fraud cases and had apparently jumped his bail. So he was going to jail regardless. You just made your life harder. Basically, he would use dating apps and talk people into investing in gold. He managed to scam the money out of his victims and would disappear once the transactions were made. So that basically was his scam. So they arrested him. And while he was at the Hung Hom police station, he complained of feeling sick. So then they took him to the Queen Elizabeth Hospital. That wouldn't have been me, because he would have said he was feeling sick, and I'd have been like, well, Abby's not feeling well either. And until she feels better, I'm not taking you anywhere. I don't know. That's just me. On the same day of his arrest, police also searched Junk Bay Chinese Permanent Cemetery with police dogs looking for the rest of Abby's missing body parts. Members of the police department's special duties units, the Flying Tigers, were also sent out to search that particular site's water catchment area. On February 26, more remains were found. A large pot that was 50 centimeters deep, which is 19.685 inches deep, was covered in thick fat and had meat, radishes, and carrots in it. Ew. The meat was believed to be human flesh. They also found human bones in smaller containers. Inside the pot was also a skull and several ribs. Ugh. Forensic experts also found a 6.5 centimeter by 5.5 centimeter or 2.56 inches by 2.16 inches hole in the back of the skull. It was suspected that this hole could have been due to a blow that killed Abby. So that, along with the blood spatters that was found in a 7-seater van, made them believe that this was the murder strike and that the van was the location of the murder. On February 27th, Alex, Cow, and Anthony were charged with murder. Jennifer was charged with perverting the course of justice because even though they don't think that she was part of the actual murder, she knew what was going to happen when it happened, and she did nothing to stop it or come forward with the information. Then, in an unexpected development, on March 7th, a fifth suspect was arrested in Abby's murder. A 47-year-old woman named, I don't know how to say this, it's NG. I don't know how to say the first name. It's NG, and then the last name is Chi Wing, who was basically Cow's mistress. She worked as a massage therapist and had been in a relationship with Cow for about 6 months. She was suspected of helping Cow to rent out the place where the remains were found, as well as helping Alex hide. She was charged with abetting a murder suspect, but she was later released on bail. On March 2nd, 2023, a sixth suspect was arrested. This person was 41-year-old Lam Shun, who was arrested on suspicion of aiding and abetting Cow's upcoming escape by boat. Lam, who was one of the yacht company's employees, had been paid 300,000 Hong Kong dollars, which is 38,220 US dollars, to get everything set up for Cow's escape. He was charged on March 6th, but is currently out on bail. On March 7th, another suspect, a woman and friend of Alex named Irene Pon Hao Ying, was also arrested in Sichuan, China. Now, what do we always tell you, lambs? If you're going to commit a crime, have as much evidence as possible on you. Make sure your phone's on, make sure you're texting, make sure you email, don't delete anything, and also tell as many people as possible what you're doing or what you did. That is the way to do it. Not that we're condoning crime here. Her charges were the same as Lam, abetting Cow in his attempted escape from Hong Kong. What is it with this Cow guy? She was charged on the 8th and bailed out for 50,000 Hong Kong dollars, which is US dollars 6,370. But the court also gave her a travel ban so she couldn't leave Hong Kong. Now, here's some of what allegedly happened. Just a timeline, basically. On Tuesday, February 21st, 2023, like I said, police think that Abby was abducted in a van and bashed on the head there. Then her body was cut up in Cao's rental apartment. On February 22nd, the suspects headed to Xiangquan-O Cemetery to dispose of some of the body parts. They were also seen going to Junk Bay Chinese Permanent Cemetery in the 7-seater vehicle. On February 24th is when the police found some of Abby's remains. And then on February 27th, all 4 of the suspects went to Kowloon's magistrate court. They were then remanded to jail without bail on the same charges of murder and perverting the course of justice. Now, according to Hong Kong's law, a murder conviction carries a mandatory life imprisonment sentence. Side note, though, it used to be that a murder conviction carried a death sentence. Like if you were convicted of murder, you were going to die. That was it, no questions asked. But that was abolished in 1993. Can you imagine? Only 30 years ago that was abolished? During the investigation, police realized that the mastermind allegedly behind all of this was Cao. Basically, their story is that, allegedly, he was angry that Abby was planning to sell the property. He didn't want to leave his property. He didn't care if she was relocating them or not. He didn't care that she was planning to still pay for somewhere else. He wanted where he was right now. He didn't want anything else. And so he decided to stop her from moving them. He was going to kill her, allegedly. So my thing is, if you wanted that property so bad, why don't you just work and pay for it yourself? That was like, anyways. This case is actually still ongoing, and police are still looking for remains, conducting an investigation, and no one has actually officially been placed in prison yet. They're actually set to return to court on April 28th of this year, April 28th, which is only, at the time that this episode is going out, it's only April 9th. So April 28th, they're going to court. In another development of the case, Abby's mother filed a court injunction to forbid Cao from selling the property that was linked to Abby's murder and to seek a declaration that her daughter was the beneficiary owner of that apartment. Now, I know you're asking, why did Abby's mom have to do that? Well, because her ex and his family are asking Abby's current in-laws to cover their legal fees. And I guess they're trying to sell the property maybe because they can't pay for their legal fees. I don't know. But can you imagine that they have the cajones and the audacity to ask her in-laws, her current in-laws, that have nothing to do with them, to pay for their legal fees? Also, Cao hired a flock of lawyers, which there should be a name for a gathering of lawyers. I don't know. Like a gathering of crows would be a murder of crows. Should it be a murder of lawyers? Or a murder getter offer of lawyers? Or getter off rapist of lawyers? I'm sorry, not all lawyers are bad. I know not all lawyers are bad. It's just, I'm not trying to lump the good lawyers in with the ones that is just they're still baffling my mind as to how can you support someone that you know is freaking guilty, for instance, of murdering a child. I'm not trying to lump every single lawyer in that type. So we can't have a name for a gathering of lawyers because I would only be thinking of those kind of lawyers and those names wouldn't be good and that would not be fair to the rest. But anyways, I digress. Back to what I was saying. Cao hired a flock of lawyers and recently asked those lawyers to reach out to Abby's current in-laws and send them the message asking them to pay. So it's Alex, his family, his dad. They're all bothering these people to pay for their legal fees. Can you imagine the size of the balls you have to do that? Because I can't. Abby's children are with her current husband, and he vowed that he would look after all of the children as if they were all his own. And like I said, the case is ongoing, so I'll keep you updated on the goings on. So what do y'all think about this case? What do you think happened to the rest of Abby's remains? There's speculation, and I'm not shitting you. There's speculation out there that people are thinking that his family ate her, which I could understand because I mean they did find a pot with meat and potatoes and then carrots in it and crap boiling up. So, and they can't find the rest of her remains. I could understand why people would assume that. Do y'all agree with this? Or do you think it's just buried somewhere and hasn't been found, or it's been disposed of in some other way and it just hasn't been found yet? I'd love to know what y'all have to say. Let me know in the comments below or by using the SOS on our website, www.murderandlove.com. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our podcast on whatever channel you're currently listening on. And don't forget to visit us on Patreon and become a lovely lamb over there, www.patreon.com/love and murder. All of our social media is in the links below. Go ahead and follow us and support us there too. You can join our free fan group by searching for Love and Murder fan page in Google or Facebook, or again, the link is in the show notes below. But an easy and free way to help us out is just by sharing this episode. Share with your friends, share with your ex-in-laws, share with your current in-laws, share with your family. Share, 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 share. And as always, as we end each episode by reminding you that it's, say it with me now, all love and no murder, y'all. Bye. See you next week.